Okay, hey everybody, we are live. David Bradley here, Sales and Marketing Manager with Grant Cardone. This is the 10X Goals and Accountability Facebook page. Today I'm going to hang out with my good buddy Daniel Blue from Quest Education. I'm going to let Daniel introduce himself, but if you guys don't know me or if this is the first time you've seen me, just to give you a little bit of backstory on me, my name is David Bradley, Senior Sales and Marketing Manager with Grant Cardone. Been working for Grant since 2011, been following his training since 2003. Grant took me from barely surviving in sales to thriving in it. And so now I get this awesome opportunity to give that content to other people. Daniel and Quest Education, they are clients. They are students, if you will, of Cardone University. But what Daniel has going on in his business, I think, is amazing. And it's an awesome opportunity. If you're a small business owner, even a large business owner, or an independent person that is looking to have more control and more freedom with your money and your savings, Daniel can definitely help. And so, Daniel, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us about Quest Education, what you guys do, and we can start there. How's that?
Perfect. Thank you for the opportunity to sit down and talk with you. Again, my name is Daniel Blue, owner of Quest Education out here in Las Vegas, and we take great pride in educating Americans on how they can get creative with their finances. We specialize in working with business owners, like you said, both large and smaller. The biggest need that we hear from our existing customers and business owners that we're talking to is the need to find ways to get creative and paying off debt. Business owners are constantly using leverage, right? They're getting into debt, and there's debt out there that's good, but there's some debt out there that you could owe a credit card company 20% interest, and that could cost you a lot of money in the long run. So we show business owners how to pay off debt, how they can get working capital, and just showing them non-traditional ways to accomplish those tasks, because we have found out, and this is why we even exist, they're not taught these concepts and ideas the traditional way. Not to pick on any names, but the big companies, Fidelity and Vanguard, they're not going to talk about ways to look at your money as a business owner, and that limits you.
Okay. Why are they not going to talk about that?
Because if you have the account as for a business owner, and there's a few out there, it puts you in the position to access your retirement dollars without paying taxes and penalties. There's a caveat to that. It's important that you do know the IRS code. We don't sell investments. We're not investment advisors. We're not tax professionals, but we understand the IRS code. And the IRS tells us what we can do, black and white, what we can do with our money. And if you're a business owner, you qualify for certain retirement accounts out there that allow you to use those dollars to invest in your own business, invest into marketing, paying off debt. Think about it. The big financial companies, they want that money going into mutual funds in the stock market. That's what makes them money, right? So it's that catch-22. If you're going to be with the traditional financial companies, you have to find some other way to get creative with your money and seek unorthodox approaches.
Okay, so when you say unorthodox, what are some things that you guys have or can help people with or tell them about, educate them, that most likely people don't know about?
Yeah, it amazes me how many business owners we talk to where they have an LLC, they may or may not have employees, but they're still a business owner, and they have their retirement accounts structured as an individual. Most people know about what's called an IRA, right? An IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. But you're a business owner, Bob. Why is your money structured as an individual? And the only reason is because he's just not educated. His money is set up as an individual. If it was set up as a business owner, he'd get a lot more tax breaks, he'd have higher contribution limits, he'd be able to invest in his own business, a lot more asset protection. There's a lot of added benefits that you get by having your money structured as a business owner versus an individual.
What are some of those products?
So the solo 401k is probably the most popular one. And that's because a solo 401k works for business owners where they have an LLC. That LLC can have its own retirement account, and the solo 401k has very high contribution limits. You can contribute over $50,000 a year, right? So if you're a business owner and you have some extra cash at the end of the year, obviously you want to reinvest that back into the business, right, to keep growing. But maybe it's a good idea to take some of that money, put it into your solo 401k. So that way, when you do your taxes, instead of paying taxes on $90,000, maybe that year you took 10,000 and put it into that 401k. So now instead of paying tax on 90, you're at $80,000, right? So could be some benefits there.
So like the top three benefits of a solo 401k, one of which would be higher contribution. What would be like two more?
Accessing money without paying taxes and penalties, right? So money in a 401k, it's tax deferred most of the time, right? A traditional 401k. The only way it's not is if it's in a Roth. Most people have a traditional 401k. They can access that money without paying taxes and penalties. And the way they do that is through a loan, where they can actually pull money out, use that money to invest into marketing or buy product and make money off that. And as long as they pay their retirement account back within 5 years, there's no taxable event on that $15,000 that Bob took out to, buy a piece of equipment to make money. So some people would rather have their retirement account dollars invested in themselves. Not that there's anything wrong with the stock market by any means, but some business owners just want to have more control of their money. And that a solo 401k accomplishes that.
So I take a loan. Let's say I'm a small business owner. Maybe I've got, I don't know, maybe I have a water truck. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I decide I want to buy a new truck. I could take a loan, a personal loan from that solo 401k to buy a new water truck. Yep. And then I got 5 years to pay myself back.
Yes.
What's the rate? Is there a rate?
Yeah, it's prime plus 2. So we're rocking about 6-7%, give or take right now. But once you lock in on that loan, it's fixed. And the interest is paid back to the retirement account. So the IRS requires that there's an interest rate on this loan. Even though that interest is going right back into your 401k, that there still has to be an interest rate.
Okay. So there's really no difference.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of clients like that because there's no credit check. You're not going down to the bank and having to submit tax returns and have income verification, because the only other option, right, or a more popular traditional option is go down to the bank, fill out a loan application. You better cross your fingers and hope your FICO score is good, your utilization rate on your credit cards is good. And if you're not a existing business owner with existing revenue, it's tough to get funding out there. Solo 401k squashes all that.
So if I had a client, so if somebody was interested in getting signed up for Cardone University, they didn't and they needed working capital, if you will, in order to pay for that, they could they use, if they had a solo 401k, could they use it for education purposes as well?
Yeah. As long as they're a business owner, you don't have to be a huge corporation with all these employees making money. But as long as you're a business owner, you qualify for that solo 401k, and then absolutely,
right.
Take that money.
You franchise yourself a Gold's Gym. You have a sales team. You want to get training for them. You've got this money sitting there doing absolutely nothing, right? You could literally tap into some of that to help grow the business, even in terms of educating your sales team.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. You can use the loan however you want. The IRS doesn't have any code or any regulation in terms of how you use that money. If you want to use that money to go on a vacation, you can do that, right? But most people use the loan feature to scale, to expand, right? Yeah. So absolutely.
So the top three benefits, I think, was that you can do a higher contribution, you can access it without penalties, you pay yourself interest, not somebody else interest, which is awesome. What would the third one be?
Yeah, and then protection. Again, we're not CPAs, but we can read the code, the IRS code, and it says money in a solo 401k is bulletproof from creditors, lawsuits, and bankruptcy. Money in an IRA is only protected from bankruptcy. So with an IRA, you only get one, bullet point of protection, right? Bankruptcy. With a solo 401k, you've got protection from bankruptcy, creditors, and lawsuits. So I'm not trying to scare people and business owners into, you're going to get sued and, there's going to be creditors knocking down your door. But hey, if you can have those extra layer of protection, why not?
Right. So, but I mean, let's just keep using the gym reference, for example, right? So if I have a gym, my money's in a solo 401k, some dude drops a barbell on his head, decides to sue me for negligence, and I lose. They can't touch my money.
Yeah. In that 401k, no. If it was in an IRA, there would be some added risk.
So those are that's huge, right? So how did you find this aspect? How did you get started with Quest Education? Why are you in this deal? Why?
So
do?
I've always been in sales, right? Not always. When I was 18, I got started in sales, but I've always known I'm going to have a business at some point in time. They use that word. What's that word they use? Entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
I that was me. My first job, I bagged groceries at Stater Brothers in California, and I always wanted to be the dudes. I wore a green apron bagging groceries and pushing grocery carts, but I wanted to be the dudes wearing the brown vest. They're the managers. They ran the show, so that's what I wanted. Obviously, that didn't pan out, right? And then I started roofing when I was 16, 17. Same idea. Looking up at all the contractors and the foremen. I'm like, man, I want to run my own show. And the next thing you know, I am 18 and I get in the sales game. And for anybody out there that's kind of trying to find their identity and what they want to do, you just can't go wrong with sales. Sales is what allowed me to have the business that I have right now. I had that same mindset when I started working, doing what I'm doing now. I've been, helping business owners with solo 401ks and looking at other areas where we get creative. I've been doing that now about 4 years. I've owned Quest Education for about a year now, and I just had that same mindset of, okay, even though I'm still a W-2 employee, this is my baby. I'm going to own this one day. When, I don't know, but I'm going to treat it like it's mine. And even if you don't want to be a business owner, I still think that's a good mindset to have because you've got that extra pride in your craft.
And I love that. So, hey, kids, for the kids watching at home, drop your employee mindset and start thinking as a business owner. The sooner you, and wherever you're at, whatever your pecking order is in the company, start thinking as a business owner. Stop thinking like an employee. Like everybody that I've ever talked to, from Grant down, that's been successful, has kicked out that piece of advice. So if you're taking one thing away from this and you're not in a market, you don't have a 401k, you have no intention of doing anything ever with anything 401, that one piece of advice was worth the price of your time on this call. So when you have a client, Daniel, that that is able to actually succeed with the product, what does that do for you? Like you personal, how does it, like, I know for me, like if I get somebody that's on Cardone University and they knock it out of the park, like I was just talking to a guy the other day, we did the sales kickoff. At the end of that kickoff, his staff goes out. They had the highest record sales for any given one day in the history of the company after getting on the program for just a week, right? And so when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, oh, like my heart jumps out. It's my heart elevates like a high school crush elevation level. Like it gets me so excited and pumped. Like, what does it do for you when you have a client and they knock it out of the park with your product?
I mean, that same, description that you provided, I had that the other day. I actually posted a video on Facebook about a call I had where the customer I was talking to, he was out in LA, and he was on the phone with me, and he was saying that him and his wife were having problems sleeping at night because they owed Bank of America about $22,000, and their interest rate was like 19%. And he's just breaking down the numbers. He's like, Daniel, I'm spending about $700 a month every month on this payment. I'm getting killed in interest. Like it's weighing on our credit score, right? Because the higher our credit card debt, the higher our utilization rate is, the lower our credit score goes, right? So he's stressed out. And he had a solo 401k with us, and I helped him understand. He actually already had one loan on his plan. He only owed $3,000 in the plan. He was making payments consistently, but I helped him understand. He forgot you could have more than one loan on the plan, just as long as the loans on the 401k combined don't exceed 50% of the account value or $50,000. So I just reminded him, hey, you can take out another loan. You only owe $3,000. You can still borrow another $22,000. Pay off Bank of America. So now you're not paying $700 a month anymore. Now he's paying his 401k back, and I believe that payment's like $450, $500 a month. So he's saving $200 a month. Plus, he's not bleeding 18%, 19% interest.
Oh my
God. He was
God.
so stoked when he paid that off. And that's why I love doing what I get to do and help people out.
That's awesome. So if anybody's just tuning in, we're talking with Daniel Blue from Quest Education. Daniel helps people utilize their money significantly more effective, saves them on interest, and helps get them cash flow that they need, working capital to continue growing their business or remove or release debt. So what are the goals for the company now? So you've got, you're smaller business, right? How many salespeople do you have?
We're about 15. Our staff in total admin, in sales. So we're in grow mode. We're hiring right now. We've got about 1,200 customers throughout the country. Our top states are California, Florida, and Texas. We're out here in Las Vegas, so we're trying to expand our market here. But we're just trying to get the message across because I see a huge, huge opportunity where not very many business owners are aware of the solo 401k and other vehicles that are specifically for them. So I look at it as, all right, I got 1,200 customers right now. I want customers for life, so we got to keep servicing them, showing them value. But my goal is to get to 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 customers, and we got to scale the right way and have the right team and make sure that we're providing that consistent value.
So where do you see yourself, or where do you see Quest in, like, say, 5 years?
Shoot, I want to be, when people are thinking about, retirement accounts for business owners, I want our name to be synonymous with that, because there really isn't that company out there that's, oh, okay, they help business owners in that area.
Right.
When you think about a retirement account and, making money and having stocks, we think of Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and, things of that nature. And again, we don't sell investments here. All we do is we just take public information and we bring it to the forefront. And I feel like, geez, more people should know about this, whether or not they need to move forward with it, whether or not they have a retirement account to take action, like you brought up earlier. If they don't have a retirement account now, at least be educated about the options. So then down the road, when you're in a position to get things set up, the difference between an IRA and a solo 401k if you're a business owner. Because if you're a business owner, you should know the difference between an IRA and a solo 401k. Most people don't.
Right. So who would be? So you got about 1,200 clients right now, right? And in 5 years down the road, as you're growing, you're looking for more people. What does your ideal customer look like? So for those of you that are thinking, hey, what's this all about? Like, what would be like some key categories to where, like, you could run down a checklist? If you're this, and this, it'd be perfect for me.
I mean, I think we can go back to those 3 bullet points that we talked about. The first one was contribution limits.
Yep.
If there's a business owner out there that is maxing out their contributions into their IRA, for an IRA, you can only put in $5,500 per year or $6,500 per year on a traditional IRA, depending on your age. If you're maxing out your contributions on the IRA side, you should look at a solo 401k if you have some extra cash flow to bring down that taxable income.
Got it. So you've maxed your contribution on a traditional, and you still got extra money, and you don't want to give it to Uncle Sam, right? Give it to yourself. Okay, got it. Got it. Mixed with, all right. And then the other 2 you'd said was, you want to be able to access some of that money without taking any penalties.
Yeah, it amazes me. We talk to clients all the time where, before we start working with them, we're going over their situation, and they come out and say, yeah, I withdrew 20,000 from my IRA, 6 months ago to take that 20,000 and put it into marketing. And then we find out they're under 59 and a half. And if you're under 59 and a half and you take a withdrawal from an IRA, you lose 10% early withdrawal penalty plus taxes. You're losing like 30%, give or take, of your money. So that 20,000 that you withdraw, you only end up with 15,000 because the rest goes to tax and penalties, right? So if you had a solo 401k, you would avoid that, right? So it's just a matter of being in the right vehicle to use those dollars, like you said, without paying tax and penalties, and pay off credit card debt, or maybe invest back into your company.
So if you've got somebody who is technically an employee, meaning they're not a 1099, they fill out a W-2 or that sort of thing, does that preclude them from being able to get a solo 401k? Or
so if you're a straight W-2 employee and you have no LLC set up, you don't have any business activity set up, then you're not going to be a good candidate. The candidates are people that have LLCs, people that are operating under a sole proprietorship, but they still have some type of business activity, people that are getting 1099 income, right, independent contractors. The definition of a solo 401k is a retirement account vehicle for small business owners with no employees. If there are employees, they have to be 1099. So if you're a business owner out there and you have employees and they're W-2, there's another vehicle or two out there that would still accomplish some of the same goals that a solo 401k will. The solo 401k is one of the vehicles that we do bring to the forefront.
So one of the things that Grant talks a lot about is, even if you're an employee, to get into some kind of side hustle or side business, MLM being one of them, or some kind of network marketing. If somebody's doing that and actually generating cash flow through that piece, does that position them better?
Yeah, absolutely. If I were them, I'd get a business bank account set up. The way I do my thing, right, is you want to have a business bank account set up for our specific business, whether that's an MLM or, we're selling on Etsy or eBay, right? Let's get a business bank account set up. And then, you put money into the business bank account, and then you can make contributions into your solo 401k.
Got it. That's awesome. All right, cool. So you've got, how long have you been on Cardone University?
Shoot, you might have to refresh my memory, but I believe a year.
Yeah.
You got me signed up last summer. Yeah.
What would you say, like, how has that helped you, forget sales for a second, I know your company's growing, right? But how has that helped you guys in terms of just growing the business and getting the name out? Like, what has Cardone U done just for getting you guys out of obscurity?
Really helping me get outside my comfort zone. I'm a pretty private person. Recently just got Facebook. So it's getting involved with Cardone U and going to 10X. It allowed me to see other entrepreneurs, the Ed Milet, Sandy Purcellas, the big ballers. And I don't have really a whole lot of mentors out there. I'm 29 years old. I dropped out of college. I don't know a whole lot of business owners here in Las Vegas, and so it's allowing me to take a step outside my comfort zone, network more, because I have a long way to go as a business owner. And I feel like it's super important that you get good content. You fill your mind with good positive things, and if you can find a few mentors out there and they tell you something, even if it's on a podcast, they say something, it just resonates. I remember listening to Cardone. I forgot which podcast, but he's talking about building your power base. And of course, you always want to get new revenue, new leads, right? But what about your power base? What about the existing customers that you have? You can look at them as, all right, I got to find more ways to create more value for the people that already are with us. And if you can just think outside the box and find more ways to get creative, to provide more value to your existing people, then everything just falls into place. They're super happy. They're going to stay with you forever. They're going to bring up a referral. They're going to talk about, oh, well, can you help me with this? Right? But they're not going to bring that up if you're not giving them consistent value. And that's one thing that Cardone really helped me out with.
I mean, that's killer. So as a team, like, do you feel like you've successfully, for lack of a better word, disseminated that mindset that you've got from the program? Do you feel like you've given that to your team as well?
Yeah, I mean, I do my best to build culture around here, and that's definitely a talking point constantly. When we're having leadership meetings and just brainstorming. We have a system where when a customer of ours encounters a problem, we look at that as an opportunity to not only fix that problem, make sure that they're happy, but then let's create a piece of content, whether that's a blog or a video, a message to make sure that our existing customers and the new customers out there are aware of that. Because if Sally in Kansas is having this issue, then Mary in North Dakota may be having that issue. So if you're a business owner out there, the more you can engage and talk to your customers and know what's on their mind and what they're mad about and why they're mad about it, you get down to the root of it, and you really are able to build value because they open up and they tell you what they need.
So this is what I like. So again, I want to try and like circle this back into like some real Cardonisms right here, because literally what just happened is in Sell or Be Sold, Grant talks about problems or opportunities, which is something that you were able to grasp on. But the biggest problem of any business is obscurity, meaning if people that don't know who you are, they can't do business with you. And so you were able to take your problem of obscurity and then literally parlay it or leverage it with other people's problems.
Yep.
Have a solution for them, and then use that as a tool to reach out into a marketplace, which I think that's fantastic. And I think anybody that's watching this that has a business, totally do that, right? Like if you have a problem, a client, whatever their problem was, if they're facing that problem, guaranteed somebody else in your client base is dealing with the exact same thing. Like you can take that to the races, right? That's just guaranteed. There's an old customer service adage about if you make a customer happy, most likely they'll tell one or two people. But if you piss them off, man, they tell everybody, right? But the thing is that for every one person that has a problem, there's another that speaks up. There's like another anywhere from 30 to 50 people that don't say anything.
Yeah.
So the fact that like you're able to take that problem that Sally in North Dakota had and apply it and then leverage it out so that, Bill in Poughkeepsie gets a solution too. I think that's awesome. It's brilliant. And I love how you've been able to take multiple Cardonisms and sort of put them all together like that. That's
it's the little things too. You actually got me on this when I bought Cardone from you. I remember getting a letter in the mail like the following week, and it's a handwritten letter from you. It said, I think this, thanks for your business, appreciate your business. And a light bulb went off for me. So now as part of our culture, as soon as we bring the customer on board, we get the solo 401k set up, whatever account we help get in place, they get a handwritten card. We appreciate their business and whatever we can do to help them out. We send birthday cards and we take the time to handwrite these cards. I don't know if I'll be able to do this if I have 20,000 customers, but 1,200, we can manage that. But just the little things, especially since, we're more, the way our society is set up, more people are glued to their phone, right? It's technology, it's digital. And I think if you can kind of just have a small piece of just that old school or, our customers, and you have to know your customers too, right? Our customers are 40, 50 years old. Now, granted, people can get a solo 401k if they're 25 years old, 30 years old, but just my customer base is, maybe late 30s to 50s, right? They can appreciate something that's handwritten. But if I had a business where my customers were 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, I'm probably not going to do that, right? Because that just doesn't resonate with them. So that's something else is that I saw what you did. I'm like, inspired. Why would I not do that with my existing customers, especially when they're, in their 50s?
Right. So, and you mentioned culture earlier. So thank you for that, by the way. That's awesome. I think so often.
I stole that from you.
But remember back in the day, like, in the late 90s, early 2000s, when you got an email, it was like a big thing, right? Like, I got an email, right? And you didn't care about what was in the mailbox. And now it's the exact opposite. You're like, man, I got mail, like actual mail. It's kind of cool. Yeah. It's not a bill or an ad. So you mentioned culture earlier. So before we wrap up, I just want to get an idea from you about how do you guys use Cardone University? Are you pretty much following our standard sales meeting, use it in the meeting, do a little, actually everybody does their own private study, a little bit of role play, or how have you woven Cardone U into your culture?
Yeah, so, it's really just an accountability measurement. When our sales team gets in the office, they're required to watch a certain amount of videos every day. And we get the daily usage reports to make sure that people are on track. I'm probably the biggest slacker around here. I'll just come out and admit it. I do need to get better at that, but, I'm very fortunate to have a team that took, I pitched them on it. So, look, guys, I'm spending the money. I think Brad Lee talks about this. Training is something you do, or you did is something you do. All the greats, they're always, training and trying to get better. So my sales team has done great in terms of just incorporating that, and it helps with, some call scripts. We got a few lines that were pretty fire, really good meetings, role playing, good curriculum. And then it just really, it's a good way to just get warmed up in the morning. Watch a few videos. A lot of it is the stuff that we hear, right? But it's good to hear it again. So it just keeps us on our toes, keeps us, you're playing basketball, you're playing sports, you got to, you still have to practice the fundamentals as much as we think, I really don't want to do it. It helps in the long run.
Why is it important to get warmed up in the morning?
Shoot, you got to make sure that you're crisp. Our what we do here is we jam on the phone, right? So I'm on this bad boy all day long, right? Most of our customers are, like I said, California, Florida, Texas is our top 3 states. So we're on the phone, these people can't see us, right? So it's really important that they feel our energy, that they hear our smile through the phone. So if you're not warmed up and you're going to take a phone call, you're just going to fail. Even if you do good, you could have done better. So it's super important that you get that morning routine. Whatever that is, walk the dogs, run, go to the gym, and then when you get to the office, you get a few courses in, a few lessons, a few videos, and then jump on the phone and start spitting that fire.
I like what you said about smile through the phone. People know, people can tell.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
They just
it's not
know.
what you say; it's how you say it, and it's not what you say; it's how you make that person feel. When you say what you said.
Right? Dude, totally, totally. Um, so the only if somebody has been tuning in, right, and whether they came in late or they caught this after the fact, and someone's seeing this and they're like, okay, I'm a small business owner, or I'm flying solo here. I've got this money from my previous gig before I jumped ship, right, and started my own thing. It's just sitting there, right, and they don't know what to do with it. And they didn't even know that they had other options other than just where it's at right now. How does somebody get a hold of you?
So www.yourquest.com. That
Okay.
is our website.
Yourquest.com.
You can give me a call directly, 702-843-5430. That's my direct number. I've got a team of, like I mentioned earlier, sales, marketing, admin, processing. So, we can take everybody from start to finish.
And that's yourquest.com, right?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Not YOURE Quest.
Yes. www.yourquest.com.
Well, listen, so thanks, Daniel. I appreciate you hanging out with me. For those of you watching from home or just tuning in, we've been sitting with Daniel Blue from Your Quest Educator. Your Quest Education, yourquest.com would be the website. If you've got extra money sitting in a 401k and you're a single business owner, solopreneur, and you want to figure out some better ways to do that, he's the man to teach you exactly what you need to know to make sure that you're making the most of your money, because it is yours long before it's anybody else's. So if there's anything you need to know about Cardone University, you can reach out to me. You can go to cardoneuniversity.info, shoot me an email, david@grantcardone.com, or call me direct, 310-777-0352. Thank you again, Daniel. Really appreciate you hanging out today. Have an awesome rest of your week. Thank you guys for watching at home.
Hey, thanks for having me.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.
Yeah, take care, man.